seconds because airplanes couldn't do it with jet fuel. So what Nico Haupt said right from the beginning, they already had set in place the conspiracy movements by giving false conspiracy theories that wouldn't work.
And so they disproved the whole. Is that the 9/11 truth or the We Are Change theory? Which one is that?
Well, We Are Change pretty much follows the the credible and respectable people with credentials, and everyone says, well, Stephen Jones must be the real thing because he got fired for his work. Well, it's easy to set up somebody and write that into the script that he's going to be fired. But I think what's highly suspicious to those of us who have really been serious about paradigm-shifting ideas is Stephen Jones was instrumental in killing Pons Fleischmann's cold fusion 25 years ago.
Well, why doesn't someone call him on that?
Nico Haupt and a few people have. They're only a few people because they're not funded as the We Are Change group with Alex Jones and so on. There's a lot of money behind it. And of course they say we're the ones that are COINTELPRO and we're the ones that are funded. But I find when I looked at the Howard Stern and I listened to it again, I'm thinking that probably everything is scripted with them.
With Howard Stern?
Yeah, unfortunately.
No,
well,
no. He wouldn't be as funny and as original and as clever.
Well, excuse me, Howard Stern himself may be okay, but a lot of the way the operation goes, I think even when they had call-ins about me in their wrap-up show, I think those were scripted.
Why do you think those were scripted?
Oh, you know what? Somebody's ringing my...
thoughts? What's scripted about it?
Someone's ringing the doorbell. Hang on just a second.
Okay. I'll just tell people that that was my electronic press kit that you can see on YouTube. And
hey, come and look at who's come here. Just say hello. I'm streaming right now. It's somebody you know.
Somebody I know. Okay.
Yeah,
well, I can't see them.
Well, she's coming right here. Can you kind of get there? Can you see who that is?
Who that is?
Do you know who that is?
Looks
That's
like
Jen.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Does she have anything to say? Hi, Jennifer.
It's Alan and the whole world here streaming over here.
Maybe Jennifer could do a little dance for the video here. She's a choreographer, you know.
I know she's a
who else is on
choreographer. Anybody who happens to be tuned into Rabbit Hole Central.
Oh, are you doing an interview? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're streaming live here.
I wanted to return this to you.
Oh,
Thank you
how
so
did you
much.
like it?
Well, I didn't get to read all of it. I've been really busy with the whole housing thing.
She's been reading Binary Economics.
Oh, good. Oh,
Isn't
good.
that
I
nice?
definitely want to do a conference with a lot of new economic theories. I just met a woman who is buying and selling oil commodities. She's talking about the whole fabrication of prices. That's not based on supply and demand anymore.
Right.
And that's not driving the market, supply and demand. It's greed.
Yeah.
Greed and necessity, and corporations have a stranglehold on the consumer.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think corporations are the problem.
I think they are.
I think.
Okay, it's the people behind. What do you think the problem is?
I think the problem is ignorance. People need to be part of the corporations. They need capital ownership. They need power. And you can't do it with labor, and you can't do it with misinformation, because corporations are just collections of people.
They're not collections of people. They're run by a small minority of people who want to maintain the profit margins for their...
They're run by a small minority. They're run by a small minority because only a small minority has capital ownership. As soon as you distribute capital ownership, then it won't be...
People want to let go of their monopoly on the money.
They will let go once you resolve the ignorance, because they're going to be richer. What's the use to sell...
Well, they're not going to be richer if they distribute the wealth to their employees. It won't be as rich.
No, then you don't understand the binary model. That's robbing Peter to pay Paul. This way, everybody gains. If you're making products that for people who are so tapped out borrowing money against their house, because that's about all people have to borrow against, then in the future you're not going to have a market. So you're running the entire economy to the ground.
Well, that's what's happening right now, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's why we should get all this New Age stuff together and really
New Age about this. This is
really
practical
stretch the
economics,
paradigms.
you know.
What's New Age is
It's back to Reaganomics, trickle-down theory, which was so ridiculous a way to base an economy instead of the equal distribution of wealth.
well, what I'm going to do is have Robert Ashford listen to this, okay? And then he'll make some comments, and then let's see what we can get together. Maybe at the Arts Club is what I'd like to do.
I think
Have a
Arts
gathering.
Club, entertainment and economics will have Christine Ebersol and your friend from Duran Duran, and then some speakers about economics. I think it's great to combine the two together.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so we want to do that in June, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna tie up the stream now and load this, and then I'll call.
We haven't really said anything in May. You should really then expand upon
that's
what
my letter of
binary economics is, and what kind of event we're going to do to promote binary economics. I think you also have to look at a new idea of what you think corporations are. They are not run, I mean, yes, they're run by individuals, but they're run by individuals with a different agenda than what you think to have in mind.
what you think, that there's just a bunch of meanies at the top of the heap.
Greedy people who want. If you look at that guy, what's his name, Jeff Parks at M&N.
Yeah, no, Larry Parks.
Larry Parks saying how it should be illegal for hedge funds to make a profit on people losing their homes.
Yeah,
and that should be illegal.
That's a good first step. But see, what Robert Ashford wants to do is he wants to take it beyond just homes. We should also have some ability to have a stake, a significant stake, in the 3,000 top corporations of America. That's locked out to practically everybody.
What do you mean?
In other words, federally insured loans were for houses.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a federally insured loan to buy into capital of something that's a business that's producing things. That's what we need. And it can be opened up. It's just a matter, it's really mostly a matter of ignorance. People who are poor are so crunched down in their poverty they can't even imagine the wealth they could have. And there's a few people rich, very few, who like being rich and seeing the contrast of their wealth and power against the poverty of someone who has less. But I think those are rare.
Well, I don't know. I think Robert Ashford is a great guy, great person, and he has a huge theory of economic change. It's big what he's proposing,
well,
and it's great. And
it's really what's beautiful about
it is the equal distribution of wealth that we've been looking for. That your friend Harold Tanner keeps talking about. We've transcended scarcity, and this is a system that will show us the benefits of transcending scarcity. Louis Calso's Binary Economics by Robert Ashford. So just tell us who Louis Calso was.
Well, Alan says it's Robert Ashford's theory, but it's not. Robert Ashford was a student of Louis Calso, who in the 1950s wrote a book called The Capitalist Manifesto. And capitalism is something else that's become a dirty word and shouldn't be a dirty word.
Well, not anymore. It's not a dirty word since the fall of communism. You know, no one even, everyone is a capitalist. All those communist countries now love capitalism.
Yeah, but
they're recreating the
in liberal New York, most liberal New Yorkers think capital. They're ashamed of it.
Not really. Come on, I don't think
they participate.
Anymore. Most people are making money because they're capitalists. That's how New York is.
Most people are hypocrites.
Well,
they really are.
Those are the people running the corporation.
And I think when you live with hypocrisy, you push it onto your body, and that's why you get a lot of health problems. That's why I want to go more into breast cancer research and so on.
But I don't think people think capitalism is a dirty word anymore. That was an old idea of the 60s, and the 60s are long gone.
Then how do you explain how corporations are in Iraq right now, and it doesn't look like there's any end in sight so long as profit is to be made?
How do I explain that? Well, just look at the government that put them there. They're getting kickbacks. The people running look at Cheney and Bush and the oil cartels, and that's how those corporations are in Iraq.
I think, Alan, if
The
you...
war was probably about making those corporations richer.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is just, we're just talking, blah, blah, blah. Nothing's going to change for our revelation. But when you get into know planes, a lot changes for revelation.
I think a lot changes, but you also lose a lot of people because that's a theory. Again, it's still a theory.
It's not a theory. You rewind on your VCR and you look at it. Well, you saw how the airplane cracked with a flat tire. You saw how fragile.
I didn't really see that. I mean, I don't know where that picture was taken or how it was taken or what were the circumstances of that.
Oh, so you don't believe?
I do know when a metal object flying at 400 miles an hour through glass and plastic, it's going to plow into a building. Don't you agree with that? Or no, you're not ready to accept that theory?
This is what Alan...
I think we're getting off the course when we start to divert very concrete economic plan of binary economics.
Alan, look at...
No, that's the newspaper.
Now, are you saying this is faked?
I'm not sure what we're looking at. Okay, we see an airplane, and it looks like the midsection has like a lifted roof. Is that what you're looking at? And you're saying that was caused by a flat tire?
This airplane does not have the capability of penetrating one side of the World Trade Center and coming out the other with an intact
I don't know what
nose.
kind of airplane and what that means. Read what the little subtext says on that. Okay? Just read it.
Breaking up isn't hard to do for this plane at Brussels airport. It cracked up at the airport, pretty much on landing. Airplanes are very fragile, Alan. I had a boyfriend who was a pilot.
I think airplanes, like cars, you remember the old Oldsmobiles were very solid, and I mean they were made from all different types of material. You can't compare all airplanes. You can't compare a small little airline to something that's a 747. You can't, like saying all cars are the same.
You know what, Alan? At times like this, I can't believe I ever had sex with you.
Oh, stop that, Paula. Because
seriously.
we have two different ideas?
No, seriously.
What does that have to do with anything?
I mean...
What, you're saying all airplanes are the same?
No, it has to do with running up against mindset. It has to do with having a gift of knowledge and watching the resistance to it.
I am open to what you have to say, but you can't say that all airplanes are made the same.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't know why
Alan,
that airplane...
I'm in grief right now. I just want to end this, okay?
Well, Paula, it's not about getting you in grief. It's just saying...
There's nothing wrong with grief. Sometimes that's the only place to go. I don't want to go round and round on this. I just don't want to...
I'm just saying all airplanes aren't made the same.
Okay, if that makes you feel good, you go your way.
I just want to understand what you're saying, please, so then we can have clarity.
What I'm saying is that to change a paradigm takes a lot of courage, and it takes going against the consensus. The society is not working. We're not going to be able to get out of Iraq unless we go out of the box. And our box says that some airplanes are created one way and some are the other way. The airplanes that went through the World Trade Center certainly can do it. Other airplanes that fall apart at the Brussels airports, they're other ones. But I want a unified knowledge. I want a knowledge that will embrace all of those. And in order to embrace all of that, I have to face that I have been terribly deceived. But moreover than that, I have to also face that I have a responsibility to get my paperwork together. And I find that this is a very grounding process. I've got a check that I'm writing to the New York Department of Law so that I'm going to be able to take donations in the city of New York, in the state of New York. I went through all my paperwork and saw how this charity was set up 12 years ago. I did not have this knowledge 12 years ago that I have now. And for that, I'm really glad. I don't mean to put you down by the comment.
I'm totally in alignment. That's what my show is based on.
I don't mean to put you down about, what I said about our love life. I'm also saying Tantra is a great gift. It's a huge gift. The human body is only here for so long, and there's so much that we can do with it. And I see so much ignorance around me about what the human body is and about how we conduct ourselves. And what I'm saying is, you know, both you and I know it was sort of a whim that we made a sexual alliance, and it took us down a certain path that then got the attention of a lot of powerful people. And we had our relationship blessed by a very powerful master. That's the part that I grieve about.
Why are you grieving about that?
Because I can see when we work together, we really work together, even to look at Burning Man, we have accomplished a lot. But to get on this impasse, to get this plane hugging to this degree where you can't face that the airplane is really fragile, and that when I get your lady from the Fion Society, you don't want to post it. You know, it's because we are.
I'll agree that that plane at the Brussels airport is fragile. Yes, it looked like a fragile plane.
But all planes are the same, Alan.
They are?
We didn't have a superhuman 747 or whatever they're saying it is, and even the 747 doesn't fit in the hole. Man, it goes on and on and on. But I'm talking about what is it like to actually butt up against the paradigm and shift it. What does that really feel like? Is that a part where everyone's saying, oh, you're the greatest person, you're changing the paradigm? Or is it where you're shunned and you're abused and you're lonely? And I have been
trying to shift the paradigm.
I've been most attracted.
I totally agree.
I've been most attracted to knowledge where those who have had it have been the most abused, the most shunned.
I totally agree. That goes against the status quo, and those people are shunned. Look at Galileo. Look at Van Gogh. Look at anyone who's tried to do something new and original. I totally think it lies in that creative action that goes against acceptable theories.
And then you've got those bridges where they can take those and sort of stitch it back to the fragile social consensus. And I think
Russell Targ's latest book, he told me, is Do You See What I See? Now this is something we should address him, because he's talking about understanding knowledge in a new way. He's a paradigm-shifting scientist that combines spirituality with science.
You know what Molly said about her grandfather, who was a general? He said, don't bring me a smart man, don't bring me a courageous man, bring me a lucky man. And sometimes I feel right now when people are talking about shifting the paradigm, instead of luck that her grandfather was looking for, to me courage is a really important quality. And it's courage to go against social mediocrity. It's to say, no matter what you think about me, if I've investigated something and I'm right with my God within, then that's right enough for me to go on.
Well, I do admire you, Paula, for standing up for what you believe. I may not be in alignment with it, but I admire you going for it and having the courage to shift the paradigm of what people think. To plant questions. I mean, that's what was so beautiful about your discussion with Howard Stern. You had those guys really confused and starting to ask their own questions.
And along the lines of that time I had with him, I could see in that moment, when it was two human beings with eyes looking at each other, not machines and ratings and, all the other stuff that our life gets so confused with. He really is stuck about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And he talks about how Maharishi saved his mother's life because she was in such deep depression. And the Holocaust is something that needs to be studied so we don't have more, because they are going on right now.
Right.
We know that they're going on right now.
And I think Howard is a very compassionate human being. Yes, he makes fun of a lot of people. He has
I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
Underneath that has a lot of compassion for people.
No, I don't care about that, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, I think my sister Ella, she has an earthier sense of humor, and that's very important, and that's very grounding. That's not a problem. I don't care if if I'm viewed as a ridiculous person either, or crazy or loony. That doesn't bother me either. But if it starts to affect my effectiveness, then I have to pause and reflect. And I thank you, Alan, and Nico helped recognize how important you were holding that status quo line, that very important art. But I do think you should start to push more of your guests, because I do think that we really should find out, is this airplane similar to the airplanes that the official story is talking about? But those who are embracing the official story are still worlds ahead of the brainwashing that's going on with the thermite, controlled demolition, the stand-down orders. If there were no airplanes, you don't have any stand-down orders, right? Because the air traffic controllers aren't seeing anything out of course. And what Webferry is saying, and I'm going to look into this and get those skills to put it up on my website, 2 of the flights were canceled 10 days before.
Well, I don't know why that hasn't come out before. I haven't heard that, but of course I'm not following it the same.
But see, this gets into the other area. Even if you get the knowledge yourself, you're convinced, you're hanging out with a crowd that agrees with what you agree with, then there's a responsibility to share it. So I'm very negligent. I've really fallen down on the job to not keep paulagloria.com up to speed, where I look on myself sort of as a retailer, just like I used to go to dusty, dirty, big warehouses and pick out furniture, bamboo and rattan, and I would make friends with the warehouse workers so they would get me better stuff than they would for Cost Plus and the other big chains. That's how I competed. I did that work myself, so I have to now go into the dusty warehouses and pick out all this knowledge and arrange it in a really accessible way on my website, so we can see that 2 flights were canceled 10 days before.
Well, let's
start
go
to
into
say,
that research.
are these
there's things that don't make sense about 9/11?
Yeah.
I think we also have to keep our sense of humor about things, not about the 9/11, which is tragic, but there's, not to get so absorbed in conspiracies and in what's negative about the world, but, keep ourselves light and open and available to other possibilities as well.
And I think scientific research, experimentation, lab work is really important, and then to share the actual results, because they said the cold fusion results were done at MIT, but when they wrote up the results, they changed it. So we have to have integrity.
Yeah. But I also just sent you an email about this Love Guru satire on Deepak Chopra. I think you should play this at the end of the show. It's very funny.
Oh, you sent it to me right now?
I just sent it to you right now. It's on YouTube, and I think we have to balance, the depth of compassion with the lightheartedness of transformation. And
that's true.
Seeing that we're here to balance both things in this world and bring new knowledge through facts and availability, but also having people tap into what's available inside of them. And that's where humor comes in, Humor sparks a creative comprehension of looking at things in a new way, and that's actually the inside of a joke. It's like you're going along one line and something said throws you off, and you laugh at your own prejudgment.
Somebody pointed that out about you, that in one encounter, maybe it was something about how you viewed my new career in porn, and the planes got brought up.
The benefits of humor is showing a new paradigm. That's why people laugh at a joke. They have the preconceived idea, and you're pulling the carpet out from under them, and they're seeing something different that they have. And people can, the extreme form of that is shock and trauma. A mild form is laughing at yourself and laughing at your own previous ideas. It's like, oh, of course, that's not what I thought. It's this.
So with the humor, you can go kind of like what they did with the wine ceremonies at the Ramtha school. You can embrace more outrageous ideas.
Right. You can embrace more outrageous ideas by laughing at your own preconceived notions of reality. And when you do that in a small increment, it's humorous. In large increments, it's traumatic. This is
Right.
what Harold also keeps talking about, dazzle gradually, a poem by Emily Dickinson. So humor is the way into opening up new ideas about the world as well.
It depends. It depends how it's
What
done.
you're saying is shocking for people. May or may not be true, but it's a shock, and people can't absorb it.
But really good humor is shocking, actually.
It can be. I mean, Howard can be shocking, but he can also be funny.
Right.
So look at this little love guru thing.
I keep
because
trying
we're
to
talking
open it,
about-
and it just. Oh, here. Now maybe I'll get
It's
it.
on YouTube. Click through of this movie. Mike Myers plays the love guru. I think it's opening June 20th.
I think I already put this on. Let me see if I did not.
No, this I think is new because this is him actually imitating. It sounds like Deepak. We should actually have two things going: Deepak speaking and then Mike Myers at the same time. Two screens going. It'd be very funny to just compare the two.
Here, let me see.
And Deepak's a great guy because he's able to laugh at himself as well.
I am a spiritual teacher affiliated with
Oh God, you're
faith,
not kidding.
and I have combined many disparate disciplines into a unified movement of human potentiality and equipoise.
Can
That's
you
my
hear?
Spiritual Institute, the Ecumenical Intuitive Enlightenment Initiative Organization, or EIEIO. I spend many hours
God, that is
defining new
funny.
philosophies that eventually become part of my Bible. What is a Bible? A Bible is Bible. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. TM. But every once in a while I come up with a great idea and don't know where to
Good
put
call,
it.
Alan.
So this seemed like a good venue to
That's
reach
right.
into the tickle trunk and share a few quick observations and thoughts. For instance, your parents teach you many assumptions. Now, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. TM. And then you become a victim. And what is a victim? A victim has vicious and insidious cognitions that impede maturity. TM. Victims often feel like they are nowhere.
Trademark.
And we want to get from nowhere to now here. And to get from now here out of
Excellent,
the state
Alan.
of nowhere, you need a lot of clarity, organization, charm, and knowledge. TM. You understand? Whether you're giving clarity, organization, charm, and knowledge, or taking clarity, organization, charm, and knowledge, you're going to need a lot of it. Now, people often ask me, Guru Pitka, how do I deal with people that degrade me? Basically, look at them in the eye and say, be loving and open-hearted with my emotions. Yeah, tell them this right to their face.
Follow me.
Blaum is a good way to remember that. Yeah, Blaum. Now, here are some gems of wisdom passed on to me by my guru's guru's guru, the late Guru Hathas Malvina. Guru Hathas Malvina was a very chaste man. In order to set himself free of worldly distraction, he had taken an oath of celibacy. Not too long ago, the Guru Hathas Malvina died of a disease that strangely had all the hallmarks of syphilis. Now, there are two main periods of Hathas Malvina's body of knowledge. The first series came before he had syphilis, and the second came after he had syphilis. Some pre-syphilitic gems of wisdom include: to know something is good, to do something is God. Yeah. Then after he got syphilis, the quality of the gems of wisdom went downhill a bit. For instance, he would say, eatin' ain't cheatin'. Beer before liquor, never sicker. If there's grass on the wicket, play cricket. What are you looking up here for? The joke is in your hands. And finally, flush twice. It's a long way to the cafeteria. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Nurishka Hargate.
Anyway.
I don't understand that flush twice.
What is that? It's a long-
Oh well.
I don't understand that either, but it's very funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But
And so, because it's become such a part of the mainstream, that kind of spirituality, the next level of it, after its integration, is to satirize it, where it becomes a deeper, ingrained part of the collective psyche. And it's only through I mean, you can only satirize something or make fun of it after it's been initiated into a culture. And so I think it's a good sign that we've incorporated this knowledge and know at it. And we need more of that. We need more of this type of humor because it goes, like, I mean, you can laugh at all this stuff that I put up too. It's also ridiculous on some level.
No, I
Another
don't.
level is pure knowledge. You know, we need the knowledge first. What were you saying?
No, I think, though, a lot of times when I would criticize you with guests that you weren't pushing them enough,
Mm-hmm.
you were a little bit too much into pleasing them,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't be laughing at you.
No,
Because
it's not laughing at me. I mean, I can
because these
push
are
people, but it also, I'm interested in people's ideas, so I can push people to a point where they will shut down, or I can allow them to discuss these new ideas at the level they're capable of expressing it, you know? So it's a balance of pushing them too much, and so they stay open, and pushing them over that edge where they start to shut down. It's more important for me for them to share their ideas. Like this woman. Listen to this woman.
No, I've heard her, but sometimes when you get cynical, I've seen it.
Well, point that out to me.
No, it's like what your mother said to you once. You don't believe this, do you?
I do believe it. I believe that these people believe it, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, and she
Support the no plane theory. I don't believe it.
And she
I
respects.
support your right to say it.
No, you're not. I understand what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm talking about a deeper level. I think it's important to have humor for sure, but it's not that you're using it to avoid.
Yeah, definitely humor.
To avoid intimacy.
To avoid topics. I totally agree.
Yeah.
And that may or may not be true. No, as far as me believing things, I'm open to what people have to say up until a point, and there's some points that I just don't agree with, and I'll let you know about that. So.
Okay, it's obvious with no planes because you got the whole society on your side. But,
no,
but what about...
I don't care about society. I just go by what I've seen of the footage, and I am not convinced that there were no planes. I mean, nothing I've seen. You can't show me something and say that doesn't exist. You can't show me the footage and say this was cartoons, because it doesn't look like cartoons from what my understanding of cartoons are. I mean, does it look like cartoons to you?
It looked like cartoons to my mother on that day. And to Molly, she said it was like a bad B-rate movie.
I want to see if your mother is a no-planer.
Well, you know, she's older now, so...
Well, there's nothing to do with it, you know?
No, what my mother said, it was like looking at a cartoon, but she didn't want to say anything because of all of the death. She didn't want to seem disrespectful.
Well, part of it looking like a cartoon, and I don't know what mother meant, was the surreal idea of a plane hitting the tallest building in New York. That's something...
And knocking it down with jet fuel, and there's a hole with people waving for 1 hour. You know, that's what's surreal. I don't know if that's the word, surreal.
I think the surreal part is the plane actually going into a building that only seems like it's